What's up, everybody? Here we are, we're back. Another episode with McD Guitars, and another round of PRS for me. Start off by apologizing for the noise, a little cold today, so I got a space heater going in here, got some laundry going in a nearby room, but with that in mind, we'll get right to it. I won't make you suffer for too long. We got a lot going on this episode, pretty exciting. So I say we jump right in and let's take a peek and see what we've got going on. All right, well, as you can see, I went ahead and made myself a couple new birds. Not quite satisfied with everything, and yeah, we'll see as they go in. You can see all the differences. But yeah, you can see here, I really like to use this white colored pencil on my carved outline. Really gives some good visibility. And yeah, so away we go. As we do more and more of these projects, I just get more and more comfortable using smaller bits in the router. And yeah, it's pretty intimidating at first, but just take your time and go slow, and away you go. So our first bird here is a bald eagle and kind of a side flight. And we went ahead and stuck with the theme of sticking with all birds of prey for the neck. We'll go ahead and list off the birds as we go. The last three are kind of generic. They're just like basically a hawk or an eagle in flight, just to kind of give them a bird shape. And as we can see, our second guy here, this is a falcon, peregrine falcon. Even though we're in fast forward here, the one thing I've learned and started doing more with the inlays is really take your time. This is definitely one of the inlays that didn't come out that well, as far as gapping, so you just got to take your time. You take off what seems like a hair width off of the silhouette, and bam, you've got a gap. So taking it slow and being very methodical is definitely what I'm learning with doing inlay work. When we do run into these inlays that have a little more gap than we'd like, doing some color batching is key. When I was doing this setup here, I first tested out some maple sawdust. It was a little too light. And I tested out some limba sawdust, and it was a little too dark. So I actually ended up mixing the two, and did a test with that, and it looked great. In the end, when I did the final inlays, it does come out a little too dark. So you gotta put the time in with testing when you're doing a one-shot deal, that's for sure. Look at this. Up next, we have our red-tailed hawk. I really like the way this one came out, and one of the nicer looking ones, I think. One of the challenges with doing inlays is taking a flat piece of abalone and contouring it to a radius fretboard. I've started radiusing the bottom of my inlays to make them fit a little flusher, but then you always have this problem where the tips on the high and low are always going to wear through your good inlay material. I've rolled around some other ideas on, I'm going to start probably radiusing the top and then seeing what I have to work with to begin with. As we look here, we move on next. This is an osprey. One of my favorite birds, and came out pretty good. So I was saying, with the radiusing on this setup here, it ended up being, I knew I was going to lose so much on the wings. I ended up cutting the wings off of these larger birds so they could lay flatter, and I was totally all right with having a body seam. And some pretty fun experiments I did, and it really didn't work out, because in the end I did lose a little too much off of the edge of the wings on these guys. For two, I used some turquoise powder to inlay to match the joint of the feather to the body. Well, I didn't get the powder in deep enough, and I ended up sanding it all off. So it looked really nice when I first did it, but yeah, live and you learn. All right, now on to our piece de la resistance. Just definitely our most difficult piece here in the inlay. And yeah, I decided to inlay this one in different sections, make it a little easier on myself. And it worked out pretty well, you know. I definitely lost a lot of the green off of the bigger wing on here in the end. And really, unfortunately, I designed this bald eagle around what I felt was an eyeball in the abalone, and well, that eyeball was really superficial, and I sanded through it right away. I double checked twice, made sure the head was completely inlaid in the body, and still just through fine sanding lost the eyeball. So you live and you learn, and you get a little better. One thing you can see here is I always leave a piece of wood where the fret is going to press in. Just feel it's going to work a little smoother, a little better. Maybe we'll do a resaw through that fret slot a lot easier. As things move along and you get a little more experience, you start realizing that these multi-piece inlays aren't quite as difficult as you think when you first start out. And also, I'm realizing that the more multi-piece I do, the more I'll be able to fight that radius problem. See here, I went ahead and cut slots out of the wings, and rather than just extending them, I actually took a full little rectangle out of each wing and matched them up nice. So yeah, it was pretty interesting deciding what angle to put this bird at. I kind of started out with his wings definitely a little more vertical, and just through having to work through the fret slots and keep everything important not covered up by a fret. This is the final design I came out with, and I like it a lot. I like the way it came out, and I think things are only going to continue to get better from here. Up next is our sitting owl. Don't have a 24th fret on this guy, so decided to sneak him up a couple. And yeah, he definitely came out pretty good. I like the way he looks. Once we got up to the owl here and beyond, I learned a good lesson, that once you've done inlays for 6 hours straight, it's probably a good idea to take a break. Some of these upper birds had a little more gap than I'd like to see. But all in all, I'm really happy with the way everything came out in the end. Beyond our owl here, what do we have here? This would be another just kind of standard hawk or eagle. Again, some of the other shapes and designs I tried to get these birds in, once they got up this far up the neck, they were just too small to keep the definition in a silhouette to look like a striking eagle, or having double both wings down. So I ended up just going with a more standard shape and went forward with it, on the always checking your fretboard for flatness for one, and just all around, it's interesting how you always just seem to lose that abalone. On my 21st fret inlay, I lost all the color off the top, and still shines, so I'm happy. But working forward, I'll definitely look forward to finding new ways to get this all going in well and still maintain some of that beautiful abalone shell. So I guess to wrap it up, after doing a full-size fox on my last guitar and doing a nice-sized bald eagle on this guitar, I'm realizing that doing inlay work is something I really enjoy, and I'm really looking forward to refining my skills. When it comes to gluing them in here, definitely probably went a little heavy on the super glue for just the initial gluing. And we should have went a lot lighter. That way I could have just ran and flooded it in with some lighter super glue and would have had a little more freedom for, putting powder or sawdust, as you see here, in some of the borders. Here we went again with our maple and limba combination of sawdust. And it does, in the end here, you'll see it's going to come out a little dark. This is always one of the best and worst parts of doing inlay, is breaking through that super glue. And yeah, here we go. Not what I wanted, but I'm still really happy with it. Just this one inlay left to go. All right, we're back. So, that was quite a bit of work. At the end, still not the inlay perfectionist. It didn't come out quite as well as I wanted, but I'm learning every time, and this one's for me. So I think the character it has is what I'll really appreciate over time. But yeah, we're not done there. Let's keep going and see what we can get finished today. I think we got more in the bag, so let's jump back in and make some more progress. All right, well, it's time to make some headstock veneer happen. This maple I'm working with is just phenomenally beautiful. It's definitely probably the nicest piece I've ever had myself, and it's a joy to work with. And we always have to do our test run and look for gaps, double check everything. As you can see on this round, I left the headstock veneer in full. In the past, I've always cut out the truss rod access first. But by leaving this hole, it was really much easier to keep my center lines matched up. And I'm definitely going to go this way in the future. It made gluing this up a breeze. And yeah, really happy with the way it came out. During a lot of these things today, that is a well-deserved beer right there. But yeah, during a lot of these things, as you can see, I was so excited I didn't even turn the video on when I cut the headstock veneer and sanded it. And yeah, I was having a fun day just going for it. Had to break down some of the thickness on this headstock. And yeah, it came out great, definitely, like we said here, we got a little further to go on that, but for all intents and purposes, it's great. I've kind of found my way with doing tuner holes by using a Forstner bit. By using the Forstner bit, when I get to the base of the cutting surface, I can line it up with the surface of the fretboard or the headstock, and then I'll know if I'm level. If I'm a little tilted, I'll know I'm not going in straight, and I've had pretty good success with the straight arm so far, so hopefully I don't have any mess ups in the future. Yeah, really happy with the way this came out. And everything's lined up, good to go, no blowout, and we are ready to go. So yeah, let's get access to that truss rod so we can do some final adjustments and start putting some frets in, right? We went through a series of different tests. The Dremel tool was just a little jumpy on the maple and wasn't really feeling that, so ended up breaking out the good old files. They never let you down. And it was pretty interesting. Not too much glue run off in there, and I was really happy with the way that came out. So yeah, let's get it on here. This is quite the exciting task for me here. I've never freehand routed and figured maple before, and always using a template on the bodies, and I was kind of wondering how it would go, if it would be jumpy like it normally is, but wow, doing this routing in the maple was a breeze. This route came out great with hardly any gaps. It was really easy to route through this material, so it's pretty exciting doing that for the first time. And yeah, I went ahead and used a little glow-in-the-dark powder as a gap filler on this, so it does have a little glow around it in the dark. But the biggest thing is there's no darker material around the inlay to interfere with that bright maple. And I think once we get that stained, it's really going to show and look nice, that no darker material around there. Yeah, definitely took my time and went slow on this one. It's a very visible spot, and I didn't want to make any mistakes here. Yeah, this was definitely my first attempt ever inlaying anything in a headstock, so I'm really happy with how smooth it went. And yeah, I'm looking forward to doing more of these in the future, that's for sure. Well, now that that's done, let's go ahead and get some frets rolling. This was interesting, I'm really glad I didn't know what I was getting myself into here with these stainless steel frets. Ended up being quite a bit of work in the end, but I think I'm going to be happy. This is definitely hoping to be my go-to #1 guitar once I'm finished with it. Practice or band. Hope this one turns out nice enough to be the one, and it'll be nice having the longevity of these stainless steel frets. can definitely be a little heavy-handed on guitars, I guess, and always worried about fret wear on my expensive guitars. So let's get a clip in, and then, wow, filing these was awful, and I spared you all the video of it. I'll just give you a couple quick seconds there. Wow, everyone, what an adventure today was, huh? Got a lot done in this episode, and I'm pretty happy about it. You know, I like what we're doing here. Thickness of our headstock still needs to be worked a little. That's why we haven't finished our volute. That's going to come down in size 2. Our joint is looking pretty good. Needs a little bit of polishing up there. And yeah, the next episode we'll start drilling some holes for wires, do some finish sanding on the body, and keep it going one step closer to staining this thing. I'm really excited about that. But yeah, hopefully we'll continue on soon, and I really appreciate everyone watching, and thanks a lot, and don't feel free to subscribe if you like what's going on, and we'll see you guys next time. All right, thanks.